Say hi.
Hi.
Hello, YouTube. How is
What?
everybody? Welcome to, well, we didn't have a really good name for this, did we, Stu? Or
No,
you
so we call it
something.
Stuart and Trevor's gaming chat.
Yeah, because we thought it's chat, and we're about video games, and we're called Trev and Stu, so that
So I'm Stu.
yeah, there's Stu down there in the corner at the moment. Um, so yeah, so Stu, you are you own Play Nation Games.
Yeah, I do with one of my good friends, Daniel Grosset. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So I don't know if you might recognise me if you keep your eye on the Play Nation channel because we had for a little while we had well it was a really little while actually we had a couple of episodes of a little series we were trying to get going called Console Shop,
I remember
and
it.
unfortunately one of the guys that was part of that moved to another country. I don't know if we
Yeah,
scared him off or
he was deported, wasn't he? Deported.
yeah, he got kicked out.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, well, that kind of put a stop to that. But we kind of thought, let's just try and start some kind of a gaming related video series podcast thing. So we're just going to do it with Google Hangouts and just see if anybody's interested in our banter or probably ramblings is probably more um, closer to what it will actually be, I guess.
So I've came up with a little bit of a structure.
Yeah. Oh,
Read it.
by the way, I'm Trev. I kind of introduced you. I was just like,
I'm
it's a random
Stu.
person.
I've done that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't own a game shop. I go into them, and yeah, basically, I was part of Console Shock. I know Stu already, obviously from doing the Console Shock series, and yeah, this is what we're doing now. Kind of a new podcasty thing about games. So sorry, you were going to say.
I was going to say. What do you think? What's your opinion, Trevor,
Yes.
on Gamergate?
Right.
I've got my
So-
opinion.
really? Do you
What's
want to do
yours,
that
though?
straight away?
Sorry?
You want to say yours first?
I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear your opinion first,
All
then
right. Okay.
I'll
Okay.
back it up with my opinion based
People
with
might suspect
facts.
you don't know a lot about it.
Sorry?
Right, so from what I can tell, I mean, I watch other YouTube people. I mean, you do as well, don't you?
Hmm.
Like people like, well, I guess us now, who sort of comment on these things. And this just sort of news story broke about a couple of weeks ago now, and it's kind of become this thing called Gamergate. It's basically where this woman, she's an indie developer. God, I've forgotten her name. You know what? I need to look up her name because it's going to look really rubbish if I can talk about this person and I don't even know her name. So I'm just searching for her now. Where is her name? That's it. Right. So this indie game developer called Zoe Quinn.
So,
Um, Zoe Quinn. Yeah, she made a game called Depression Quest. And you think, what the hell's that? Well, it's basically as an indie game. It's like an RPG that helps sort of show you what it's like to live with depression, which is something that this Zoe Quinn person has had, and it was well received. And everybody, she kind of carried on doing her indie gaming thing. But it turns out that she's recently found out to have slept with, although I don't know if it's definitely 100% true, um, to have slept with some video game journalists that have helped her to get. Actually, I don't know if it's. I need to read more up in it, but basically that's what it is. This girl, this indie developer, apparently she's been sleeping with game journalists,
hmm.
and it's kind of completely ruined the integrity of game reviewing and game journalism because people are like, oh, how can we trust them if they're just people? They just sleep with the reviewers, and reviewers just sleep with game developers, and that presumably taints the scores. So I don't really know if there's any truth behind it. It's kind of hard to have an opinion, really. I don't think it. It's hard to. People say, oh, game developers should be fraternizing with um, reviewers, but you can't help it when you all work in the same industry. And yeah, you can't really manage to tell people not to do things like that. I'll just hope that even if they do, are if they're acquainted with journalists, you're a developer and you know some that you're not going to use that to influence your review scores. Um, So yeah, but some other crap came out about the Zoe Quinn person. Her ex-boyfriend was the one that found out that she slept with apparently five other people that are in the games industry and are journalists, and she apparently lives with them as well. So basically, her integrity as a game developer has been, ruined. I think they work for Kotaku, that big gaming
Yeah,
website.
I've heard
I
of
don't
that.
actually
Yeah.
read it. Yeah, I don't actually read it myself. I tend to stick to IGN and Eurogamer and stuff like that. But yeah, apparently these guys work for Kotaku, so people are like saying that Kotaku, don't waste your time with them, don't read their stuff because they're completely untrustworthy. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, my opinion is it seems like a load of hot air over nothing. I mean,
Well, you've got you're reviewing a game. Um, someone could read that review and invest basically, their whole week's pocket money, or
yeah,
work a good few hours to buy a game. So you've got to have some sort of integrity, I think,
exactly.
because there's nothing worse than seeing a review and think, oh, I like this game,
Yeah,
and then purchasing it, and then if you haven't got any faith in the reviews and things like that, then it just loses all. What's a review? Can I trust? Can I trust this site? Can I trust these? Can I trust reviews in general?
yeah,
And
yeah. Kind
and
of
that be
your whole faith in the entire journalism in gaming could be like
hmm.
completely ruined because people like this. If it, I don't know if it's true or not, but if it is, then that's really bad.
Well, that's it. I mean, does it come down to? I mean, this game this Zoe woman's made. Is it any good?
I think it is. I think it was well received. I mean, I don't really play a lot of indie games. Sorry, indie people. Um, there's a few. Well, I guess you can count what you get on your mobile phone most of the time now is indie, isn't it? Like Angry
Yeah.
Birds, all that. I don't really play a lot of them, those games really. Um, so yeah, but yeah, apparently it's a good game. Yeah, sorry, my cat is probably going to end up coming into the camera.
No, no problem, no problem. So, well, I think it is a good game, but I've gone to the opinion now of I don't really read reviews. It's almost I get caught up in hype.
Really?
Yeah, I
You've
find a
got
lot of
Destiny
my
then.
gaming choices are based on hype, and
Yeah, I suppose you can't help it though, can you? Because the games that you see on telly and the ones that you see on advertised on the front page of IGN, you're naturally going to look up.
mm,
You might not buy them, but they're the ones that you're naturally going to be confronted with. So you're going to, that looks interesting. So we're all kind of victims of it. It's just advertising, it's just marketing, isn't it? Really.
well,
But
I
on the
think
other hand,
I was going to say a lot of
sorry, go.
customers come into my shop and they'll ask, how do you put it? They'll tell me about games. They'll ask me about games, and maybe
Yeah,
the hype I'm talking about is with people coming in. Oh, have you seen Destiny? Oh, when are you getting Destiny in? All these types of questions.
yeah,
And so I'm listening to that and go, wow, actually, all these people are asking me about this. Actually, I want to play this. And I mean, so far in the next 3 months, the only game I've pre-ordered personally for myself is I can see your cat.
yes.
is is it near?
It's like she becomes interested in me when I'm doing something. If I'm playing a game, she'll be all over me. If I'm just sat there watching the telly, she'll have no interest at all.
No interest at all.
Kind of like
But
women. Actually,
it's,
no, I
it's
take that back. It's terrible.
a lot of the games is I'll go out there and sort of do my own research with them
Yeah,
and sort of follow people sort of online who are sort of talking about them. And maybe you could argue that that's a review. So I'm saying I don't like reviews on one side, but then I do like reviews or people on the internet sort of talking about games, and I guess they're people that I can't really see any sort of advantage to them talking about the games that they like. Because quite often the games that I buy are people have talked about it, so I always talk about GameSack. Not an
yes,
episode
game
of
game's great.
GameSack
I love
doesn't
game
go
games.
past without me going, right, that's one game I want. Right,
Yeah, I'm like
uh,
that. A lot of games from previous gens, or even some recent ones, I've actually kind of now looked up because I've seen it in GameSack.
Yeah.
They passed me by like years ago, and now it's great. I've discovered so many games
Mm.
that I would never see on IGN or anything like that. So yeah,
No, it's sometimes with IGN and GameSpot and all websites like that, it's about Call of Duty, which I do like. It's about
yeah.
FIFA, which I do like.
It's
About
literally
Assassin's
the
Creed,
company pay
don't
'em.
really much for.
Yeah,
Um, but it's sometimes it's interesting to almost sort of get into sort of a niche of computer games like a bullet hell shooters or
yeah.
rhythm games, and actually think
Guacamele and all that sort of. Yeah.
this year I'm going to play games from a different genre. For example, on Friday I'm going to purchase Hyrule Warriors. I've never
All
played
right,
a
with
Dynasty
you.
Warriors
Yeah.
game before in my life.
You ever played Dynasty Warriors?
No, well I have. I played it the one on the Vita. It came in.
Basically that.
Yeah,
Good. I
it's
like Dynasty Warriors. Yeah.
I've never really played them too much, but hopefully they should be good.
Yeah, if you're a big, well, it's kind of a weird genre. It's just like normally it's just the game's broken up into missions, but it's just you're just this one dude who just goes around fighting hordes of literally thousands of soldiers. You
Mm.
clear out an entire section of thousands of soldiers, and you move on to another bit until you've cleared the whole area out. And I think Hyrule Warriors is going to be that, but I like that. It sounds really lame when I describe it like that, but they're quite enjoyable. I
Mm.
like the Gundam. They do a Dynasty Warriors Gundam.
Oh, Dynasty, yeah.
Yeah, which is basically Dynasty Warriors, but it's with robots. So, and I like Transformers and things like that. So my cat is again all over me. Stop. Um, so yeah, no, that's Star Wars is a good shout. Actually, it is made by the same people, isn't it, as Dynasty Warriors? I think.
Koei,
Koei, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
EI or something like that. I can't remember.
Koei.
Koei. Yeah, so I like to sort of almost get games from different genres, and if anything, I've gone back now to sort of two 3D platformers as I'm playing Super Mario 3D World. Absolutely
Yeah.
loving that. Before that, oh, what was I playing? Wario Land, the Shake Dimension. I really enjoyed that game.
You look at
And
your
just
game collection.
what's that?
You look at your game collection.
I am.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. It's very similar to mine, actually. I could probably show you mine. I don't know if you can pardon my multi-gin. But yeah,
I
that's, well,
didn't that be on
that's
the other
actually
side
one
of the?
half of it. I've got another show. I've got another unit next to it that's got a few more games.
I think you got a few more games than I have.
I don't know. I've never actually counted them. I know
Uh,
I've got about 50 Xbox One games and
50
about,
Xbox One, 50
yeah,
Xbox
I've got about
One.
30 360. I've got about 30 PS3, 40 something Dreamcast, and I got about 70
Have you got
PS1.
50 Xbox One games?
Yeah, it's
Wh-
about 50.
Why have
Slightly
you
more, about 53.
why have you bought 50 Xbox One games?
Well, the
How
thing is,
different?
I never got rid of games, so I just kept buying them, and they just naturally built up. And lately, that sort of gen of games, the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox, those a lot of places are probably like yourself. Although probably maybe not.
Hold on. You're talking about the Xbox original, not the
Yeah,
Xbox One.
no, I'm got. Yeah, I'm not talking about the Xbox One. Did I say Xbox One?
You said
Yeah, so
Xbox
Xbox
One.
One kind of means still means like original Xbox. No, I've got on Xbox One. I've got about 12 games.
Okay,
All of them are mine.
that's more acceptable.
Original Xbox, I've got 53. Yeah. God,
Okay,
that's so annoying. They call it the Xbox One because that's what people would used to call the original Xbox.
yeah, the Xbox it's an absolutely disaster of a name. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, 720 would have sounded a bit lame, but
yeah,
at least it would have been easy to distinguish
I think they should call it
between them.
Xbox Evolution
Or something like that. Yeah.
or
It was
just something.
like when Nintendo were developing like the Nintendo Wii, it was the code name was Revolution, which sounded awesome.
And then
It's
they
called
call it the
the
Wii.
Revolution. I should have kept that. That would sounded wicked. It sounds a bit 90s, like
Mm,
the new 32-bit console, Revolution
yeah.
or like Project Reality, like the N64. But yeah, no,
Project Dolphin. Well, that's a
yeah,
GameCube.
yeah, the GameCube was Dolphin, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
which Dolphin did sound crap for a real name. But GameCube sounded rubbish as well. Remember when they announced that? I was like, GameCube? It sounded like some kind of toddler's little toy or something.
It did look with his little handle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it even looked like
New 3DS. Talking about stupid names, the new 3DS.
yeah, it's
So you
not
walk
even
into
like
a shop,
distinguished, is it? Really?
no,
It's
you walk into a
bizarre.
shop like have a new 3DS. What is
It's
that? The
really
new
bizarre.
3DS or the new 3DS?
What do you think about it?
Well, I think I don't own a 3DS, so personally, I haven't got that baggage of hang on, the one I bought 6 months ago is now out of date.
Yeah,
So from my point of view, is I think it's a good thing. It's got more power. It's got the extra control stick, a few extra buttons. It's got better 3D. But
yeah.
if you look at it, the other another side of it is they're going to be bringing out a few games. I don't know how many, but so far Xenoblade Chronicles is the first one that will only work on the new hardware, and
That's right.
also
Yeah,
Smash Brothers 3DS.
it's
That
enhanced, isn't it?
you can't use the Circle Pad Pro. You've got to use the control stick to do the Super Smash moves.
Yeah,
So people will be they really need to get the to be the best at Smash Brothers. They need to get a 3DS,
yeah.
and so I don't mind them bringing out the same technology, but then slightly improving it and making a new level of game that will only work on the new 3DS and not the 3DS. I think I think that's going to be very, very confusing for the consumers,
Yeah.
and just generally not the best decision by Nintendo. Um, in the first place, it's great having a bit more power so and get a bit more graphics out of it, but overall, I think it's a little bit of a sort of a bad idea. But will I get one in January? It'd probably be yeah. I might do. I'm thinking about it, but that's because I don't own the other one. So if I owned a 3DS, I think I feel a little bit like Nintendo sort of not rips me off, but
Yeah.
Nintendo do have a habit of every 2 or 3 months they bring out a new Nintendo one, we bring out a Luigi one, we're bringing out a Pokemon one, we're bringing out something else, which basically
Yeah, but
slightly
they're not updates that break compatibility though, are they? They're just little extra different colours and things that you can take or leave. But your old one will still be able to play the games this new one will. But
yeah,
that's the case, is it, with this new 3DS necessarily?
because I mean uh, the thing I mean if you're a kid that's got a 3DS and you haven't got particularly a lot of money, so you've got an old 3DS that you've had for a year or two, but you really love RPGs. And for that person there, that customer or that client or that person will not be able to purchase a whole new machine then to get another game. Their parents might not allow that, or they might not have the disposable income to spend another £170 to
And
get a
that's the
back
market. That is the market,
new
though.
3DS
Yeah, and that's
just
the market
for
they're going for.
a couple of extra games, and so and then the whole name issue that's it should have been the
I think it's a bad idea. I'm with you. I mean, I'm actually the other side of the coin. I've got the what is now old 3DS. I got the first ever 3DS on launch day,
yeah.
um, and then you had the 3DS XL, but that was just a bigger screen. It wasn't
Yeah, that
a
I could see a natural progression.
Yeah, I upgraded to that just because it was way better. The screen was so much bigger and
Mm.
it was so much easier on the eyes.
Mm.
And I like the 3D effect. A lot of people moaned about it. I thought it was quite good. Some games didn't really need it,
Mm.
but there were games which it worked really well in, like Pilot Wings.
Mm.
The 3D effect worked really well. Super Mario 3D Land worked really well. I mean, probably the game I played the most was probably Super Street Fighter 4,
Mm.
mainly because it looked just as good as well, when you put them side by side it doesn't, but for a handheld version of Street Fighter 4 it was pretty close to the console version, and the
Yeah.
3D, yeah, it wasn't necessary, but it looked kind of cool, so I always left it on. But yeah, I think to have a new console come out that is kind of a new one, but it's not. It's kind of weird. It's not a completely new gen, really. It's not like a new brand. It's still a 3DS. I mean, with the original DS, it had kind of mini generations, but it was still the same hardware. But then you had like the DS,
Mm.
and then you had the DS Lite, and then you had the DSi, and the DSi was a bigger leap 'cause it had a camera, but it was still the same hardware. It still played the same
Well,
games.
saying that, Nintendo have done it before because for the DSi, there were 3 or 4 games which would only work on the DSi
Yeah, it
because
wasn't a big deal
they use
though.
camera. No.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it dropped the Game Boy Advance compatibility, which I thought was annoying. But I suppose you can have a Game Boy Advance if you want to play those games.
you
Um,
I think by the time the DSi came out, the Game Boy Advance had been, no new games were coming out of it.
no,
It was.
I mean, it was like 2009 or 2010, I think, when the DSi came out. So by then the DS was like really completely taken over from the Advance by a couple of years.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Everybody was playing DS. Yeah, so it wasn't like, oh my god, and throwing the DS out the window because it doesn't play your Game Boy Advance games. And by that time, you could get, a Game Boy Advance SP for like 20 quid. I think they've gone up a bit in price now. I guess you probably found that in your shop.
We're £20 at the moment, but
Oh right, cool.
don't want to
Yeah,
take
I mean,
for the shop, but
my favourite handheld is actually the Game Boy Advance SP, but the one that's got the backlit screen,
yeah,
the AGS 101.
that's
Although
right.
one episode of Console Shock, you can look at that up as well, where we actually talk about it.
Yeah, there's
Um,
action.
we did, yeah, we talked about the different variations of the Advance, but yeah, I think it's a bad idea because yeah, parents are going to be pissed off that their kid's going to be nagging them to get a brand new console that's only going to have its own library of games, because their current system doesn't support these games.
Mm,
But you worry for Nintendo because Sega pulled this stuff all the time in the 90s and it bit them in the arse.
mm.
I was only like, when Nintendo were chucking out stuff like the Mega CD and the 32X, I was only like 11, 12, 13. So, I actually wanted a Mega CD, and I was like, but I couldn't go to my parents and be like, oh, that console you bought me, well, there's this little thing you can bolt onto it, it's 300 quid that plays a few extra games that I really want to play. Can you get it for me? That was never going to happen.
It's not going to sit very well, is it?
No. So it reminds me of that a little bit,
Mm.
you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get one. I mean, I'm not bothered about Xenoblade Chronicles. I can imagine they'll still have to release games that run on the regular 3DS for a few years, because the
I'd
install
be
base
honest
is
with
so
you.
big.
I'd like to think that up until the end of the 3DS's lifespan, which I'm sure is going to be another 3 or 4 years, if not more, they're going to continue to produce 95% of the games and work on
Yeah,
the whole back catalogue because there's been 60 million 3DS's sold.
yeah. The
I think
install base, you can't ignore it.
they
And
haven't sold
what does
any
that mean for the new
new
system?
3DS's.
What does that mean for the new version? Can they really kind of make loads of games that only work on that? Because they're going to
No.
alienate this whatever million, 30, 40, 50 million people that already have a 3DS. So it's weird. I don't really get it. I mean, by all means, release a 3DS with a built-in circle pad that's hardware-wise is no different, maybe a better screen, but
Mm.
will play the same games, and the same games that come out afterwards are the same. Will work across the whole family of 3DS. But making a brand new, well, not a 1.5 upgrade is not really the market that it's aiming at. Don't really want that sort of thing, you know. And it's not bringing it up to the level of a Vita in terms of its power, if that's what they were trying to do. But you
Mm.
know, not that the Vita's done brilliantly anyway, despite being really, really good hardware. So
No, I do. I've got a Vita, and that and the PSP are actually my favourite handhelds at the moment, and I'm sure that will change.
I'm a big fan of the PSP, yeah, and the Vita.
Yeah, the PSP is a cracking machine. So, Trevor, what games? Now, this is in homage to the another podcast that I listen to, the
Homage.
Gamers. Do you listen
What
to the
gamers?
all gen gamers? They talk
Oh
about
right, yeah.
all different generations of gaming.
All
So,
generation games. Yeah.
what games have you been playing this week?
Um. Well, I'm going to be a bit boring because I haven't done really any retro of late. In terms of games, you know, I like sports games, which are the much maligned genre by a lot of people. If it's not an FPS, you're not playing a real game. But I told you this last time.
The first game was actually a first-person shooter.
The
First
first
game
ever
ever.
video game, yeah, Pong, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, that was it. Pong. Yeah. You tell me that. Yeah.
um, yeah, what have I been playing? Well, tonight I've been playing Pro Evolution Soccer 2014 on the Xbox
In Pro
360. So
Evo
that's kind of retro, I
2014.
guess. Yeah, I've got like one of those option files that give you all the real players and leagues and all that, which kind of makes it really good. And I've been quite enjoying it, actually. I recently got NHL 14 for the Xbox One. 15,
Didn't
sorry,
did,
NHL 15.
didn't they get bad reviews on Metacritic?
It
Talking about reviews,
did,
did about 6 out of 10.
it did, yeah. Mainly because people were moaning that stuff had been taken out, which it had. I mean, I had NHL 14 on the Xbox 360, and it
Mm.
had like online modes and all these kind of had season mode, which I like playing because there's no management admin stuff you've got to do. You just play game after game after game and try and get to the playoffs and win the Stanley Cup and all that stuff. That's been taken out of NHL 15. It's an offline mode. I don't know what the issue is.
Yeah.
But that's not it's not that it's been taken out. It's just the more that they didn't have time to put this stuff in. I think is what the issue is. But yeah, they basically took that out, and so I have to play like GM mode or general
Manager.
manager mode. Yeah, but you can automate all the manager admin stuff, so it's kind of like season mode. But yeah, there's also online modes and things like that which have been taken out. I never really played. I don't play online
Yeah.
generally much, so I don't really miss those. So for me, it's more like an 8 out of 10 because the gameplay is really good and the
Yeah.
graphic wise, it looks great. It's an improvement over previous gen. But yeah,
Yeah.
it got kind of rubbish reviews. But I'm glad I bought it. I don't regret it at all.
No.
So
So
that
what?
Madden 15 as well. So I'm kind of playing that. Although I find NFL games are a bit more stressful than any other kind of sports game
They're a
because
bit
they're
more
kind of
stressful.
yeah. American football. I mean, I love the sport, but American football video games is almost like a bunch of mini games stitched together. That's kind of what they're like when you play an actual match, because
Yeah.
when you play offense or attack, if you're if you're not familiar with like American football, it's basically your aim is to move forward 10 yards to get a first down, and then keep move forward another 10 yards, another 10 yards, so hopefully you get a touchdown at the other end of the field. But to do that, you kind of you have to either run the ball or throw it, and you kind of have an Angry Birds type trial and error thing where you just try different things. Some work better than others in little mini bursts. It's not like FIFA where you're constantly playing a game or a racing game where you're constantly controlling it and you've got to be
Mm.
100% focused. And also defense, I kind of just because I don't really know enough about the tactics to be really excited about playing defense, which is itself a completely different mindset to attacking.
Mm.
Um, but they've made it into a mini. It kind of is a mini game now where you can actually focus on one player. Well, you could always focus on one player, but now they give you a special view of behind the defensive player that you've selected. So you can try and get the dude that's going to be aiming for the quarterback, and you can actually control him in like a weird little third-person mini game where you try and sack the quarterback. And
Mm.
that makes it a bit more fun. But a lot of the time, I just sim the defense, which isn't always the best idea because the computer might make the wrong decision, but I'm not brilliant at making the right defensive plays anyway, so I'm quite happy to sim past the defensive bits and let the computer control those, and then I take control when I'm on back on offense. So yes, that's what I mean. It's kind of a weird, like juddery kind of gameplay experience. I still like it, but I prefer FIFA and NHL to those.
I always want to get into the NFL games, but they've never quite sort of grabbed me. I did like the NFL on tour, the NFL Heat, because that just seemed like a little bit more sort of fun.
They're not intuitive at all. Yeah, you couldn't just sit, a mate down who'd never played an NFL game and just leave them to it. You'd have to sort of hold their hand a little bit. I mean, for people like me and you who are into the sport, we would kind of be happy to sit on our own and work out how to play it, But yeah, it's not an intuitive game. It's not a casual game, really. You can mess around with the sliders to make it ridiculously easy or stupidly hard. So you could get someone into it like that. But if you want it to be anything realistic,
I have to play it on really easy.
Yeah, I kind of play it on medium because I kind of want to win, but I want to risk losing at the same time. It's kind of weird. Like FIFA, I have it on like world class, which is like the second highest setting because legendary is like just impossible. People say, "Oh yeah, I'll put it on legendary. I'm really good." It's like bullshit. No one plays it on legendary. So I put it on world class where it's challenging.
Play it on legendary.
Huh?
Comment in the comments below.
Yeah, I do it. I'll put it on legendary. Yeah, classic.
So why are you playing now? The FIFA 15 demo came out this week. So why are you playing Pro Evo 2014 on the last gen systems?
I saw it for cheap. I saw it for cheap, so I just bought it. I remember. I got the demo like to PS 2014, like when it came out, the demo, which is last September, and I played it a lot. But that was around the time that the next gen consoles came out. So I pre-ordered like FIFA and Madden and everything for the PS4, which is the one that I got on the day it came out. So as soon as I got that, a couple of weeks after that, when did it come out again? It was September, wasn't it? PS4, sorry.
November the 20th.
Was it November?
28th, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 28th, I think. Yeah.
I took it to work.
It was after the Xbox One. Yeah, I didn't. I was at work, so I had to sit all day knowing it was at home, which is really annoying. I got the games before I got the console, which was even worse. It was like this big tease that Amazon were trying to do. But yeah, so I started playing the demo of Pro of 24. So I thought, this is quite good. I might actually pick it up this year. But the next gen came out. I started playing that, and then later on I picked up an Xbox One. And later on, I picked up a Wii U. I'm not rich, by the way. Most of my money just goes on games instead of holidays and other things that normal people spend hundreds of pounds on. That's why I have all these. But yeah, that and Littlewoods, which is great if you want to spend way more money than a shop, but be able to pay in installments for things, which I tend to need to do. So yeah, all these things come out and completely I forgot about Pro Evo, and then I just happened to play the demo again. It was sat on my 360 hard drive, and I thought I must be like a tenner now or something. And yeah, it was about £18 in CEX next door to me. So yeah, I picked it up and started playing it, and I've been playing it for about a week. I know the new one's coming out, but I'm getting FIFA 15, so I think I'll just play this until that comes out. And I'm not hearing that Pro Evo 20 is going to be amazing.
You should have got Pro Evo 14 when it was on PlayStation Plus a little while ago. It was on there about 2 or 3 months ago. It was one of the free.
Was it a discount?
It was the free game.
Oh shit! No, I don't have PlayStation Plus actually. To be fair,
but I did buy. I saw in a Crack Converters. They had Pro Evo 14 on the PSP.
Oh, so you had that. Did you get it? Hello?
Ah, there you are.
I lost you again for a few seconds.
Pro
Evo.
Pro Evo 14. I brought it on the PSP, and it's just quite funny to play it because
It's like PS2 Pro Evo, isn't it? Which is good.
yeah, but I think what they do with the I think Pro Evo since 2010
They just
is
like
they
reskin
put the
it.
new players on
Yeah,
and move the teams around slightly, who gets promoted, who gets relegated, and that's it.
yeah,
Nothing else.
yeah. The new.
But they're very blatant about that.
Yeah,
They'll say we do nothing with it.
it's
It's
just not
just got
worth
to be
it.
you,
Yeah,
you know everyone in Japan will buy it. Let's whatever.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny because I remember when I got a PSP, like Pro Evo was one of the first games I wanted to play when the
Yeah.
PSP came out. Because I was like, shit, I can play the fucking, Xbox, as in original Xbox Pro Evo that I've been playing,
Mm.
on a handheld, and it will look just as good.
It did though, didn't it? It looked
And
just
it
as
did,
good.
yeah. It was great. It was literally the same game. It like blew my mind how like I'm playing this on a tiny little handheld.
Mm.
And I just pummeled it. I loved it. It was like that and like Ridge Racer
Yeah,
and
Ridge Racer
Virtua
was good on that.
World Tour. Well, actually, there's actually a few. There was that Virtua World Tour, and then Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max or Upper. Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper Max. Yeah, or just those sort of four games. They were like I think they were the ones that came out with it. But yeah, I just played those for like ages. I
Mm.
like neglected like my actual real like TV consoles because I
Mm.
was playing the PSP because it was just awesome. And then it was
Mm.
like in widescreen, and like the Pro Evo on the Xbox was still like 4:3. So that was
Mm.
like Pro Evo 5. It would have been 5 then, yeah. Yeah, on the PSP you got like a widescreen version, so it was actually kind of more advanced in like a weird way. But yeah, I think they changed a few things, and then I don't think it was even 2010. I think it was by about 2008 they just stopped like tinkering with the game engine because it was just
Mm.
they couldn't squeeze any more power out of it, so like sod it, we'll just reskin it and keep bringing it out. But I still got it. Although to be fair, my PSP's jailbroken. Sorry, Sony, probably contributed to your like probably soon to be bankruptcy, the way things are going. But yeah, so I always kind of obtained a copy of the latest Pro Evo, and it was better than FIFA on the PSP because that was just it was the PS2 FIFA, but with less polygons uh, and a kind of a bit slower and a bit naffer. Um, so yeah, no, it was great on a PSP. Definitely one of my favourite handheld sports games, whatever.
Mm. Well, yeah, I was always a big fan of it. The football games on the PSP because you can play a couple of games before you get to bed, and it's just convenient for your lifestyle, really. But
That was great about it, wasn't it? Yeah, you could just play proper games like that, not Game Boy baby versions of like FIFA and
yeah,
everything, real console.
it was the same version.
Yeah.
Uh, I've not brought a football game for the PS Vita yet, but I may do if.
I got FIFA Football when it came out because it was a
Mm,
launch game, and that was actually really good because it was basically it was at the time FIFA 12 had been out for a few months, but it was actually kind of FIFA 11 that you got with the FIFA Football game, but that was fine because
mm,
compared to what you would have been playing on a PSP, it was like it was the PS3 and 360 experience,
yeah.
slightly lower resolution.
Mm,
But which was amazing. But straight away with the FIFA 13, they just reskinned it, and they've done the same thing this year, and they'll do it next year. So I'm not going to waste. And
no.
they charge full price for it. It's like £40. So
You stream it from your PS4, which I'm going to get FIFA 15,
yeah,
and I'm going to try and do that Ultimate Team, which you were talking about the other night, and get into that. But
that's a joke.
if I go on
Yeah,
to
good fun.
what I've been playing,
Sorry,
Super Mario 3D
what have you been
World,
playing? Super Mario 3D World.
3D World,
I've played that
yeah,
a lot as well.
brilliant, absolutely brilliant game. And I think I'm on to the second to last world, I think, and it's getting rock hard now, rock hard.
It's yeah. I mean, I've got it as well, and I really enjoyed it. But I've only got to about World 4 because I think some other game like distracted me. It might have been Tomb Raider, actually, the new one.
Mm.
Wow, Lara Croft managed to distract me from Mario. But yeah, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's easier than Super Mario Bros. New Super Mario Bros. U is rock hard.
Yeah.
It's insanely hard. Mario 3D World is a lot easier. Still hard, but a
Yeah.
lot easier.
So
Although
that's
compared
it.
to like,
I think by the time you get to the seventh and eighth world, there are a few levels on there that I'm dying quite a lot. But I enjoy playing games, but I don't think I'm
yeah,
any good at them. Uh,
yeah, it is. You do have to kind of, even with Mario. I mean, it looks like it's kind of well, for people of our like generation. I'm not trying to make it sound really old. We grew
mm,
up playing these Mario games,
mm,
so we're in that weird. We're not exactly the demographic that Nintendo want buying their consoles. It's presumably kids, but
mm,
there's people that are now in their late 20s and 30s that would have grown up with the Mario games and are
mm.
still happy to play them, and that's kind of us. But
Yeah,
they're
they're
really
good. They're
hard.
entertaining, and
I mean, The Last of Us remastered. I like. I don't want to say I breezed through it, but I didn't put it. It was only on normal. I don't like I said. I don't like to play a game that's make it so hard that I'm going to end up hating it. Um, but The Last of Us, I kind of you can literally just sit in front of the telly for 10 hours and you'll be able to complete it. There'll be bits where you'll die a lot, but you'll get past them. And there were bits where I died a lot and I got really pissed off. But I got past it with Mario. You'll just keep dying forever,
yeah,
and it'll put you off it for months. But you'll
yeah,
come back to it, try it again, and you'll get it. But yeah, they are hard. I mean, the kids that play them these days, they must like hate them. But like like Mario World or Mario Brothers 3, that was hard. They were harder because there was no like when you die in Mario 3D World and Land, I think as well. Funny enough, if you die like 5 times in a row, you get like the golden like acorn thing, bell
yeah.
thing.
Don't
Turns you
use
into like
that.
a yeah. Well, it's the idea is you kind of it gives you lets you have a little run through the level for free, but I think you can't unlock any achievements or like
Can't get
well,
the green
achievements is
stars and all that.
yeah, it stops all that. So you kind of do pay a bit of a price. But that's basically for kids that, aren't experienced at playing Mario games and, then it'll stop them from saying, Mum, take the game back, it's too hard, you know. Whereas in our day, in Mario Brothers 3, you just died.
Mm.
There's no help. You just died.
Yeah, well, I've basically been playing that and the FIFA 15 demo, and
It's
that's
good,
basically.
isn't it? It's
I've,
good.
I've, I've enjoyed it. I think there's still a few little bugs in there that need to sort out,
Yeah, the animation, some of them, I don't think they'll fix
or
this
not
with the actual
right.
real
It
game,
doesn't
but
feel quite right, but I'm sure they'll
yeah.
get that sorted. But did you see last night? Well, you were out last night, I imagine.
Yeah.
There was this
I
documentary
heard
on.
you were as well.
Yeah.
Funny.
I watched it today. There's a documentary on, and I want to quickly talk about it. And in
Go
China,
for it.
there's like a major problem of teenagers just spending their whole time in internet cafes playing World of Warcraft or
Starcraft.
Chinese-based MMOs where
Yeah.
there's lots of grinding and they're designed to keep you playing. But basically, a lot of their parents are going, "Oh my God, my child's in there for 10 hours a day," and so they're dragging them to these centres where they're basically locked away, and they attempt to brainwash them into, "Look, guys, you shouldn't be playing these games for all these hours." And it was just really to get your opinion, Trevor, on what
Long game
about
playing.
sort of not MMOs in general, but do you think maybe if you had children, would you ever send them away to a prison camp to get them to get them off computer games? I think
I've
I know
been
the
asked that
answer.
before. Looking back when I was a kid, I mean, I would play games, not so much these days because when you're an adult, not mentally but physically an adult, um, you don't have time really to play games for like 8 9 hours. But when I was a kid, I mean, one game that comes to mind, or there's probably loads of them, is Shenmue.
Oh,
When
not
that
that
came out
rub.
on the Dreamcast. I know people like it's like Marmite. People either like completely hate it or love it, but I loved it. And yeah, I would come home from I guess it would have been sixth form then. So well, not exactly a kid, but young. And yeah, I'd put the disc in, well, one of the four discs, and I could play it from like 4 in the afternoon till like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Mm,
Um, that was a game that I played for multiple hours. I mean, well, to be fair, like recently, Skyrim. I had a bit of a spell. I mean, I haven't got anywhere near where most people I know have been. I know people are like, oh yeah, I got to level 100 in the end. I'm like at level like 12.
mm,
I haven't played it for a while. It's the trouble when you play so many games. Sometimes you just can't finish them and you give up. But yeah, I got to about level 11. But I had a weekend I think where I like played it for about on a Saturday. I had a good 5 or 6 hours, which for me is like a long time now.
mm,
And I think The Last of Us remastered. I think I had a couple of little sessions where I ended up playing it for 5 6 hours. Um, yeah, FIFA. But I like to do seasons of like where I pick a
mm,
team and I try and go through a season, try and win the league or whatever. And yeah, I can end up playing 10, 12 matches in a row, which can equate to a few hours.
mm.
So yeah, I end up playing games even now sometimes for hours at a time when life allows. And if I had kids,
Would you?
yeah, I mean, I guess I would just be like, you feel free to play the games, but don't let it get in the way of going out and playing outside and doing
Meeting
homework. And,
girls.
yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully, when they're a bit older, but yeah, don't let it get in the way of the more important things in life because I think I'll be a bit of a hypocrite if I sort of said stop playing games for hours on end. And games can be good, games can be like educational, not Mortal Kombat, but
Mm.
but
Well,
I think that could be a good thing.
in the news
What about
quite
you?
recently, they arguably had the idea that video games and the internet cuts down on crime because I remember you can imagine the 1970s or the 1980s where kids were out and about and the only thing to entertain them was throwing stones at windows
Yeah.
and obviously that's a crime, but now they're trolling people on the internet, but that's not
that,
that's
that
kind of
that's a lot
not
better.
as much a crime as
You can just delete the comments now.
yeah, just to leave a comment saying you're rubbish,
You smell.
you
You
smell,
smell
I
of
hate
weed.
this show,
Love you, by the way. Lol.
So these
Yeah.
same people would have been going out mugging people or throwing stones through windows or
Now they can just do it on
you know
Grand Theft Auto instead.
so now yeah exactly they're acting this all out on Grand Theft Auto, they're meeting their friends on there and they're getting involved with each other where they go around in gangs on Grand Theft Auto or they go around on DayZ in gangs shooting zombies or they'll all meet up on Call of
On the
Duty and get
interwebs.
a big 16 people party
Yeah.
and they're all there and they can pick on each other and have a bit of banter with each other within that and you might argue that oh actually that's terrible, they should be out and about, but it is arguably cutting down on crime.
Yeah, I mean, like in real life, you can't steal a golf cart and ram raid a strip club, which is
Yeah,
something
you could.
you do in Grand Theft Auto. Well, you could, but it would be quite difficult in real life. Whereas, as
Yeah.
many hoops you'd
It
have
would take planning. It would take planning.
it would take planning, and it's not something you could just casually do when you're, Trevor Phillips in Grand Theft Auto 5. Well, that was another game that I spent most of the time. Not when I spent long periods of time playing it, it would be not really playing the story. Like I actually traded it in recently so I can get the Xbox One version coming out. But
Four
last time
version.
I played it, sorry.
Why not the PS4 version?
Well, the thing is, I actually prefer the Xbox One. I know it's not fashionable to say that these days because everybody's like, Xbox is shit, but I really like it. And I've got Xbox Live. I don't have PS Plus, so
Oh,
that kind of draws me to it as well. I think it's got a better UI, but this is a whole nother like episode to discuss the merits of both. But yeah, but I play Xbox One more, so I'm getting on the Xbox One. And I think also the whole, nothing's 1080p on the Xbox One. I think that's already kind of dying off. because like Destiny's 1080p on both, and Wolfenstein: The New Order, and sounds like GTA 5 will be as well. So I think that's gonna. And I don't know why that's even an argument now, because like, okay, I've completely trailed off now, but what the hell, I don't care. Like, there's not many people sticking up for the Xbox One these days, so I'm gonna do it.
No,
So,
I'm a
well,
big fanboy.
yeah, well, it's back in the day, I was like completely a zealot for one platform over another, and even till recently I was. But now
Mm,
I like to be a bit more platform agnostic, where because there's games that are going to come out on one platform that are going to be
mm,
amazing, and that are like The Last of Us for the PS4. They're never going to come out on Xbox. Like on the Xbox, you can get Forza Motorsport and things like that that aren't going to come out on the. Well, you got Gran Turismo, but I prefer Forza, so I'm not going to be, oh, I need an Xbox for that. So I've gone past the thing of being, oh, you've got a PS4, you're an idiot, or you got an Xbox, you're an idiot.
yeah.
But in the last gen, I had a PS3 for 90% of it, so I was completely like PS3 fanboy.
Mm.
I was like, oh, good luck playing Blu-rays on your Xbox, even though people would be like, I didn't buy it for Blu-rays, and I'd be like, oh, shut up.
So
So yeah,
I think it's good having sort of competition and sort of banter between the systems. And I do say a
yeah,
lot of it tongue in cheek, and I mean I do own a PS4 and a Wii U,
you'll
and I
get an
can
Xbox One
Wii U
eventually.
more than my Xbox. No, my PS4 at the moment. I haven't got an Xbox, but I'm
Well, the
enjoying.
worst thing, I mean, you won't like this, Stu, but you'll really hate this. But I was an Amiga fan, like I was a complete Amiga zealot
Well, I
back
like
in the
Amiga.
day. I recently, well, not really recently, but within the last couple of years, I bought an Atari ST.
Are you loser?
I've
Loser.
stop the podcast now. I know,
Loser.
right? Yeah, that's it. The famous L. Yeah, and it's not as good as the Amiga. The sound is
Yeah.
terrible. Just play any
The
game,
same.
the sound is terrible. The music is
No.
really NES. This audio is literally NES.
What, the
Get
Atari? I
two,
thought the
two.
Atari had good audio, didn't it?
It does for like when you plug in keyboards and stuff, and it's got tracker software,
Hmm.
which eventually came out on the Amiga anyway. But in-game audio is really rubbish. Some games, there's loads like the Amiga. There's different variations of each version. If it's an STE, that has a decent sound chip, but it was only used in some games that supported it, kind of like the new 3DS we're talking about. Um,
Uh,
yeah. Then you got Amiga level music, but for the most part, it's just NES. Think of your favorite Amiga game,
hmm.
but the music is made into NES version,
I
and you've
did
probably got
find that I mean, I always say to people is get the machine that your friends have got.
yeah,
And all my friends had the Amiga, so I
yeah.
could the games off them, do a few sneaky copies, and
Oh, those are the days. Yeah,
that was
Xbox.
perfect.
Yeah, those days are gone. Yeah, but no, I agree. I mean, then when consoles I kind of had an Amiga and a console. I was lucky enough to ponce a cheap one off a mate.
Mm.
So when they were, in that era. Um, so yeah, and I was a Mega Drive. Basically, I'm still a Sega fanboy, even though I've got every Nintendo system. So I guess I'm not a very good one. But not that Sega are making any money like out of consoles anymore, so it makes a difference. But yeah, like back in the day, I was a complete Mega Drive like fanboy. If you had a Super Nintendo, you were like an idiot. Even though now I realise that the Super Nintendo is actually better than the Mega Drive. Again, sorry Sega. I'm still a fanboy, but yeah, the Super Nintendo is actually better. But
Yeah,
controversial, I know. People are going to might if we have comments on this video, they'll be like, "What are you talking about? What about Gunstar Heroes and like blast processing? Like we didn't get blast processing in our ads, did we? We just got
no.
to be this good, take Sega, and what was the other one?
Sega takes ages.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and do me a favour, plug me into a Sega.
Yeah,
And that was a TV saying that, not a person. Hence why plug me into a Sega. Cyber Razor Cut. We got
yeah.
those ads. But the Game Gear was like way better than the Game Boy. I don't care about the batteries. It would get rechargeable ones. That was never an issue. It was huge. It was absolutely huge. It was about as portable as
I did actually prefer the Game Boy.
I preferred the Game Gear. I had a Game Boy at one stage. In fact, it was one of the first consoles I ever got was a Game Boy, but I preferred the Game Gear. I had a Game Boy, and then I had a mate who had a Game Gear, and I thought it was. I played it for the first time ever, and I was like, Jesus effing Christ, this is the most amazing device I've ever seen. It had like a colour screen, and a lot of the games that were on the Game Boy had a Game Gear version, and that would be colour. So you'd be kind of, it was, to me, it was just really easy, and it was Sega, so by default it was better. The Master System was better than the NES. In this country, not necessarily in America, but in this country probably was. Although I had a NES actually, I never really had a Master System. I'm a really rubbish Sega fanboy when I think about it. I like the Mega CD, really underrated. Really good games on it that people completely. Well, it was really expensive and no one could afford one. But
name 5 good games for it. Putting you on the spot.
Night Trap, Sonic CD.
5 good games.
Looking at my game shelf now. Thunderhawk, Final Fight CD, and Fatal Fury Special. Probably 2 more as well. Sylpheed.
Yeah, 3.
Starblade. And a bit of a guilty pleasure, but for me, there's a really good. The only other good FMV game is called Fahrenheit.
Oh.
It's made by Sega. It's not actually by the guys that made your Night Traps and your Corpse Killers and all that. You're a firefighter, and you're literally in a first-person movie of going around, trying to rescue people from a building that's on fire. Sounds really
on CD.
This is on Mega CD, yeah. It's called Fahrenheit. CD. It's like the best FMV game. That and actually no, Night Trap, Fahrenheit, and Power Rangers. It's not an FMV game though. I mean, those really like much maligned genre that was where you watched basically a video and occasionally press some buttons.
Sonic CD.
Oh, you already said that.
I know. I'm trying to get it.
But yeah, damn right, Sonic CD.
It's a good game, isn't it? That should be in the top 5.
It's a good game. It has annoying bits. I'm not a big fan of the time travel thing. I still really like it. It feels more like it's like Sonic 2.5. It's not really Sonic 3. It's not like it's not massively different from Sonic 2. I'm not a big fan of the time travel bits, but everything else I love. Just make sure you get the version with the Japanese soundtrack, because the Americans got this terrible. Well, they love it, but I think that sounds awful. It's like this really rock, over the top, not very Sega-y soundtrack. We got the PAL version. We got the Japanese soundtrack.
Oh right, well I'd only get the PAL.
You'll be all right. Yeah, we'll be all right here unless you actually go out. Yeah. My laptop's dying. I'm just going to get my adapter. I really should plug these things in beforehand. Just twiddle your thumbs, Stu. Keep talking about Sonic CD.
Sonic CD. Ooh.
Yeah, Sonic CD.
How did you save games on the Mega CD?
Did you ever have one?
I think it had a battery or something in it.
I'll tell you in a second.
Don't look on Wikipedia.
I'm back. Here we go. Right, so yeah. Whoops. Okay, right, so how do you save games? It's got RAM inside it. The Mega CD's got like a battery-backed RAM chip.
Right.
It's like 64 kilobytes or 32 kilobytes. And that's where you save your game. Of course, it means that you have to have that particular Mega CD that you're playing the game on to be able to continue your game. You can't just go around a mate's house and pop the disc in. Although you could get a cartridge that plugged into the Mega Drive that gave you more RAM.
Yeah,
more
those
saver.
have got once. Yeah.
Yeah, they're quite expensive though, I think.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think the Mega CD memory had a battery as well, so they die. And then when that happens, I'm not sure if they leak all over the place like the Amiga ones would. But yeah, you lose all your games when that happens. But I tend to play Mega CD with an emulator now. I've got like a small little form factor PC that I've actually connected to the back of my TV.
Hmm.
And I run like Gens, was it Kaga? So either Kaga or Gens, and that runs Mega CD games really well. So yeah, I've actually got a Mega CD 2 that doesn't work,
Yeah.
uh, and I've got a multi Mega.
Oh.
Is that like
Oh.
almost Walkman size? Well, really chunky Walkman size Mega Drive. Probably the best Mega Drive actually, out of all the variations.
Hmm.
That's the one I'd recommend.
Right, Trevor. Shall we call it a night for tonight? I think we've been about an hour.
We have, haven't we? Yeah,
I
give or
think
take.
you might be getting bored with our banter.
Yeah. Right. In that case, well, if anybody is watching, thank you for watching. We're going to do a few more of these.
Yeah.
I don't know how regularly, probably maybe a couple of months or something.
Well,
And yeah,
can we do 3 a week?
3 a week, yeah, every night.
Every night.
Why do
It's basically go to bed with Stuart and Trev.
Yeah, that's a different type of podcast, I think. But I like the sound of it though. It'd be good. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I guess next time, if you want us to talk about anything in particular, and just leave some comments. They're normally down here, comments down there, and or over there, up there to the side, down. Um, and yeah, we'll talk about them. And thank you for watching.
Like and subscribe.
Bye. Like, subscribe, share.
Yeah.